So, what can we do? There are a lot of things we can do. We can try and be aware of why we procrastinate. Is the project too big? Do we fear failure of the project? Think about that thing, those things, assess our feelings. How do we feel about it? Are our feelings kind of distorting the picture? Are we making the thing too big? Are we not looking at the big picture and the benefits that'll come from whatever the project is or the activity? Um, Sometimes when we're stuck, it helps to look at the thing as a big elephant that we can't eat in a bite and just break it down and break it down and keep breaking it down until they're bite-sized pieces. And I know that when I worked in the cemetery industry, I had to manage a huge complex that was being developed from a cow field. And it was an overwhelming task, but I loved it, obviously. It was a total joy, and I was challenged beyond imagination. And it really forced me to do some outside the box thinking. And one of the things I did was to not be overwhelmed with the to-do list was I used a stenographer's pad, which was, a small pad that was cut in half in the middle. And so I used the back. So I had 4 columns a day, basically, and I'd have management, marketing, sales, development on each of the columns, and that would keep me from being totally, I could focus on one thing at a time. So that helped me. But at that time, I was being very effective because I had been in Stephen Covey classes and a lot of other um, great leadership classes that helped me to be pretty darn effective at that time. And I really did accomplish a lot, and I'd like to get back there. So we can chart the reasons why. Um, there are really some big cost for procrastination. I made a note here that procrastination destroys health because stress destroys health. It destroys teamwork and puts responsibility on other people. And so it's not exactly the fair way to go either. It's not only do we lie to ourselves, but we let other people down when we procrastinate. And that might be one of the hardest parts to deal with later. So, what do we do about this thing? Here's what I think. I believe that we've got to get down to brass tacks and start at the beginning and figure out where we went wrong, why we're not focused on the important, meaningful issues in life. And to do that, I believe that we've got to have an intrinsic motivation, something that comes from deep inside that will last and that we can count on, that's root deep. How do we know what that is? That's the big question most people don't know today. But Plato and Socrates and Aristotle and all the greats have told us over and over and over again, know thyself. And out of that will all the great issues of life come. And so that's where we need to start, in knowing who we are, why we are, what we are, and how we are. And there are a number of ways to do that. So, in other words, what I'm saying is um, we need to discover a vision for our lives and clarify our values. Once we know with clarity what's important to us, what we believe in, what we're capable of, who we are, what we've done in the past, um, there are all kinds of ways to profile us. And that builds confidence. And as we do that, we can begin to cultivate habits based on that root strength, that self image. We can build on that. And then Stephen Covey calls that being proactive, taking charge of your life. And so then we can use his habit too and begin with the end in mind. Figure out where you want to go and be confident about it. If you get out here in your car without a roadmap and don't know what your destination is, yeah, it sounds like a waste of gas and time and energy and everything to me. So it's the same thing. If you don't know where you're going, you're probably not going to get there. As said the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland, a very wise fellow indeed. So, knowing what we want the important people in our lives to say about us at our funeral is just one way that a lot of people use to help them zero in on the destination. What do I want at the end of the road? What do I want to see? What'll allow me to live without regret? And that's the goal. And then once we know what that is, we learn to put first things first or to schedule our lives around our passion. And we can begin to take valuable control of our lives and quit squandering all those important minutes and seconds and hours and days and weeks and months and even years. So we have to build the muscle of willpower and do that by working out. And we work out by looking at values and developing a vision and a mission with an end in mind and developing a plan around that. And once we do, it's like getting on a gravy train of joy and hope and success and wealth because things start to fall in line. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I've got a couple books that you might want to read that will help with this topic. One is Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow by Danielle Kahneman. The other is Grit by Angela Duckworth. Obviously, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And last but not least, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Hope you've enjoyed this. Keep in touch. We'll have more good stuff for getting better and better and actually becoming who we're meant to be.